How's it going? Thralls of Metal here again, and I'm Necrotic Nick, and we're about to do another collection update, because I keep buying music. So, let's start it off. GWAR Ragnarok. I'm surprised I didn't own a copy of this. I have a fuck ton of GWAR, but this one always seemed to fucking elude me, or I just fucking forget because I was buying other shit. Fucking love this album. Meat Sandwich alone is one of my favorite fucking goofy-ass GWAR tunes. And I just love GWAR. And people should love GWAR. They're fucking awesome. You know, long live Odorous. And, you know, it's cool to see them still around, still working. But I love the classic stuff a bit more. So, if you haven't heard this, just jam it. It's a fucking classic. It's just pure fun. Lightning Swords of Death, The Golden Plague. This is their first album on blackmetal.com records. This is really rough in terms of recording for them compared to their other two releases that came out, which sound a lot more polished. This is pretty straightforward Black and Death. This is kind of lost in the recording quality though. It's real murky. The drums are kind of pushed back in the mix, I think, a bit. But I mean, if you really wanted something gritty sounding and you're looking for a Black and Death metal band, you haven't listened to them before, check them out. They're pretty good. I prefer their previous, their other two releases that came out after, but this is still pretty good. Prosanctus Inferi, Red Streams of Flesh. This is an EP that came out on Nuclear War Now. It's pretty straightforward death metal, a little bits of black metal in it too. More of a higher register scream in this. There's not a lot of low growls on this. Pretty good stuff. My only complaint is it kind of runs together in terms of the songs. That they're all really similar in terms of the construction. Like there's a couple moments where they break it up, but for the most part, it stays pretty much the course on every song, which kind of loses you after a while. And you know, for an EP, you know, there's not a lot there to really listen to, so you're kind of hoping there's more of a variety of songs anyway. Not a bad band, and I leave links to all this music down there, so jam it for yourself and check it out and tell me what you think. Defecation. Killing with Kindness. Defecation is pretty much a one-man band. It's Mitch Harris from Napalm Death. This is something that's been going on since 1989, and just recently he got this back together. It's not good. I really want to say good things about this because I love Napalm Death. I love Mitch Harris. I think he's an awesome guitarist in that band. I don't know what happened here. It's pretty much all the same industrial, like, drum machine beat on every song. It's just kind of a standard thrash beat on all of it. It sounds like it was recorded in a basement. There's not really any interesting guitar work or riffs. The vocals have this really grating distortion on them. Something like Cyborg fucking Satan just growling into a mic. It doesn't work, and I really wanted it to. I like their previous releases a lot. This is just not great. I really wish I had something nice to say about it, but of course, jam it for yourself, check it out. This is just my opinion. So, yeah. Noisem, Cease to Exist. I fucking love this album. I like the previous two releases. This is even better. This is pretty much equal parts thrash, death, and grind all fucking just mixed together in this perfect, ugly fucking symphony. Lots of Repulsion-esque vibes on this, and I fucking love Repulsion. Really good chuggy riffs, and they know to pretty much break it down every now and then, slow it up, give some, you know, time to breathe in there before just pummeling you again with fucking blast beats. It is an awesome listen. I fucking love this. It's out on 20 bucks bin. It's a solid fucking label. Check it out. Swallow the Sun, When a Shadow is Forced into the Light. This is the most recent release from Swallow the Sun. Came out, I think, last month, and I just got around to getting it. It's really good and very, very somber, much like Death Doom is. This one is especially somber because I think it has a lot to do with the frontman's girlfriend or wife dying of cancer, so very personal, you know, moments on this. But my God, it's really, really good and really catchy. Like, there's a really good use of clean vocals for the, you know, deep bellowing growls and screams, and also female vocals scattered throughout too, which really add a lot to it. Firelights especially, I think, is an amazing song on here. It's pretty, but it's somber. So I don't know if you're in a mood to be depressed but still entertained, jam it. It's really fucking good. A.N.S. Or no, it better not be A.N.S. Pressure Cracks. Okay, now that does sound more like that. This is a, I guess, crossover thrash. It starts off very crossover thrash and then moves almost into straightforward punk territory, and then kind of Voivod-esque weirdness. Some spoken word over weird riffing, and that part of it doesn't really work as well. You know, I love Voivod. This didn't really echo very well. It's more like a little bit of a tribute to him. But the straightforward crossover thrash stuff on here, like the first 2 tracks, really echo that well. This was out on Taint Crimes. I think this came out in 2009. Not a bad listen. It's really short. You know, most of these songs, I think, clock just a bit over 2 minutes. There's a couple of longer ones on there. But the shorter ones, the short blasty ones, are the really good ones. Like, I love crossover thrash. It definitely echoed DRI or Iron Reagan. So if you're into that shit, jam it. And the rest of it, you know, give it a whirl. It's different. Deathrage. Down in the Depths of Sickness. This is an Italian thrash band from the late 80s, early 90s. This came out in 1990, but this was a reissue. It's okay. It's pretty straightforward thrash metal. It doesn't sound like 90s thrash metal. It doesn't really have that heavier vibe and a touch more groove that 90s thrash metal had. This sounds like it came out between 83 and 85, and, you know, kind of Bay Area-esque, but not very flashy. Like, there's not a lot of memorable riffs on there. There's some decent songs in here that I really liked, but for the most part, it kind of just felt a little watered down. And I really wasn't a huge fan of the vocal style the singer was using. It just didn't work. But, I mean, it's a decent listen, and like I said, give it a check. You know, that's just my opinion. This band has such a fucking awesome name. Mammoth Weed Wizard Bastard. And I don't know how to pronounce their album title. YNOLIANNWN. Whatever. It's awesome. I love it. It is very straightforward doom metal, but with a lot of really cool synths in it. Very, like, I don't know, I guess might as well compare it to Stranger Things, because everyone watches that. Very much like that. If you're familiar with the band or duo Survive, they do all the music for Stranger Things, and this has that kind of vibe in the sense they're very dark, and I don't know, you feel like you're watching like a John Carpenter movie or David Cronenberg movie in terms of how they create atmosphere with those synthy parts, and then it just breaks into just super heavy doom metal, like very much in the vein of like something like Candlemass. And really interesting female vocals on this. She has a higher register, but they're very layered and ethereal. It all really works well on this, and this came out on New Heavy Sounds. This is something that came out this year. I guess they have more albums. I'm gonna have to check them out because I really, really like this. Totaled. Lament. This is a blackened hardcore band. I forget where they're from. They really embody both black metal and hardcore very well. They really balance it out. The mix is a little spotty. Like, I don't like how the drums sound, especially the snare. The snare sounds like they're banging on a paint drum rather than an actual snare. There's not a big pop to it. It's more of a thud. But musically, this is really, really good. I really like the writing on this, especially the last song, Bereft, which out of nowhere comes up with this really, I guess, beautiful melody that comes in. That's the only way I can really describe it for something as visceral and fucking heavy as hell. And this cover artwork is pretty fucking sick on here. Definitely recommend it. It's out on Profound Lore, just came out this year. Check it out. Devils, Inferno Metal. This is a very stripped down, blackened thrash band from Columbus, Ohio, my home state. And it's really good. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty much, very much in the vein of something like Midnight or like Bathory meets Motorhead. It has a fierce punk vibe, very lo-fi, like not super polished production, which kind of adds to the gritty, sleazy atmosphere they want to create. I mean, you know, they got a fucking demon feeding liquor to a devil chick with her tits out. I mean, pretty sure I know these guys are all in for a good time, and some blasphemy too. Sounds like fun. But yeah, it's a solid listen. I dig it. Check it out. Trouble, Solemn 9, or also known as Trouble. They get confusing there with the two self-titled albums in their discography. Straight up doom metal, band out of Chicago. I'm not the biggest fan of the vocals on this, but the music is fantastic. Like, there's, of course, a lot of Black Sabbath worship, but they have a really good crunchy tone to the guitars too. Honestly, I forgot they were a Christian band to start out with. I guess they kind of moved away from that later. As well as their style, they kind of moved into almost more stoner metal territory. But their early albums were just straight up old school doom metal, and I fucking love that shit. So this is definitely an awesome jam. I'm glad I found an original copy of this. This is from 1994, Metal Blade. Killer shit. And then finally we have Devastation, Signs of Life. This is a super underrated thrash metal band from the late 80s, early 90s. They only had 3 releases, I believe, and broke up after that. You know, touring difficulties, becoming jaded with the music industry, you know, stuff like that happens. But it was a really solid band. Very, very heavy thrash. Very much in the vein of like Sepultura, like around Beneath the Remains and Arise especially. Good chunky groovy parts too that I really liked. Solid writing, some pretty cool squealing solos. Vocals were a little meh, but you know, he delivered a pretty solid bark. Good stuff. They've been reissued on a, what's it, Punishment 18 Records. If you can find a copy of these, this and their other album, Idolatry, they're fantastic. They're just a solid fucking listen. Check them out. Well, that does it for this edition here. If you like what you saw, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any recommendations, of course, let me know in the comments. Catch you guys later.